Many African universities today are offering entrepreneurship as an undergraduate or postgraduate study program. Yet, recent studies also indicate that upon graduation, most university leavers are still stuck with the attitude of job seeking instead of job creation. What is the problem? According to Dr. Anthony Igeru, Program Manager at the Regional Universities Forum for Capacity Building in Agriculture, RUFORUM, there is a problem to be addressed in the current entrepreneurship-related curriculums being offered by most universities.
I think first, for me, if we begin to look at the education issues in the context of our African system, we can trace it to a sort of a colonial issue. Of course, somebody might say that we have traditionally blamed the colonialists since they left, ever since we got independence 50 or 60 years ago, as most African countries. But our education was originally anchored within the university system and other parts of the education system to train clerks that would replicate and do work well where they were provided the kind of leadership.
In order to address those challenges, RUFORUM is receiving support from the African Development Bank, FDB, to pilot a new initiative aimed at transforming university entrepreneurship training. The new initiative is dubbed Sharing Innovations and Experiences from Korea for Higher Education Transformation in Africa, in short, SIKET, which is being piloted at two universities, Uganda's Mbarara University of Science and Technology, MUST, and Senegal's Hussein University.
And the first one is employment opportunity.
RUFORUM is an 129-member outfit that works with African private and public universities to strengthen their capacity of fostering innovation that are responsive to some of Africa's leading challenges. Job creation remains one of Africa's foremost demands, and there is an urgent need to address unemployment among the youth, with the World Bank estimating that the continent's working-age population will grow by 70% to over 450 million people by 2035. The African Development Bank recognizes this emerging crisis and has consequently placed creating jobs for youth in Africa high on its priority list under the bank's High Five agenda, as President Adesina explains.
Well, I take a look at it today, Chris, and I look at the population of young people in Africa, right? Today we have 420 million young people, and that's going to grow to 840 million people by 2050. The problem that we have, they can't have jobs. A third of those are employed. A third of them are underemployed. And 1/6 of those are basically just languishing everywhere without employment. And so employment crisis, job crisis, is the biggest problem that we have in Africa today. And when I take a look at it as a bank, I ask myself, what is it that we need to do and why? The why question has to do with the rate of growth that we're going to have, because Africa's growth, GDP growth, is actually going to rise by an additional $500 billion a year over the next 30 years if we are able to actually give our young people jobs.
Through SIKET, the African Development Bank has extended 2 grants of US $50,000 each to Mbarara University in Uganda and Hussein in Senegal to establish business incubation centers to foster practical entrepreneurship training at universities. Dr. Alice Mwetwa, the Deputy Executive Secretary for Program Development and Implementation at RUFORUM, explains.
RUFORUM is implementing the SIKET project with the support from the African Development Bank and the Korea Africa Economic Corporation. And under the SIKET, we are supporting two universities, Mbarara University of Science and Technology and USEN in Senegal. We are currently supporting staff training in those two universities in relation to the establishment as well as the running of the incubation hubs. So far, we have conducted training in Mbarara, and we hope to conduct a similar training at USEN in Senegal.
In April 2021, lecturers and students of Mbarara University in Western Uganda participated in a week-long entrepreneurship training and business incubation aimed at building the university's capacity to establish and run a successful business incubator. The training covered different aspects including introduction to the ecosystem for innovation, entrepreneurship, and incubation, building a successful incubation ecosystem, how to incubate an idea into a successful business ready for the market, and how to launch operations of an incubation center. Professor Gautam Raj Jain is Distinguished International Entrepreneurship Training and Development Consultant, conducted the week-long training at Mbarara University main campus located in Western Uganda.
This is the second day, and we continued to build upon what we did yesterday. What we did yesterday was building perspective, motivating them to become entrepreneurial individual, also understand the whole concept and perspective of incubation with analogy of pregnant women giving a birth to baby and nurture and nursing the baby to become a hero or a leader in the future. So that is the analogy that we used it, and also we discussed in how you can integrate whole entrepreneurial culture and ecosystem and incubation ecosystem into the university ecosystem so that everybody participate.
The training featured plenty of group discussions aimed at taking the students on a self-discovery journey, according to Professor Jain. At the end of the training, participants received certificates in entrepreneurship training and business incubation management. Commenting about the training, participants had this to say.
Today I learned that yes, incubators can be supported, but they should be able to also contribute towards the sustainability of the hub, which is something that we had not concentrated on. So that means without funding, the hub is no more.
My experience today has been very beneficial in terms of take-home message. What I learned today is sustainability. As much as we want to have incubation projects, we also want to make sure that we sustain them over time. So my experience today has been one of sustainability.
Dr. Florence is the Reforum Executive Secretary for Resource Mobilization. She says the COVID-19 pandemic makes interventions such as SIKET timely and important in making universities part of the solution.
The pandemic has created a kind of challenge for especially the youth in the job sector. We know that there was lockdown, and with lockdown, all the momentum that had been generated for the small businesses, for the small startups, had to rescind. So now, after the lockdown, they had to start afresh. Markets had been disorganized a little bit, the transportation was a little bit disorganized. So the ability for the young people to create jobs was quite disorganized.
However, observers say for SIKET to achieve real transformation, it must be scaled beyond the two pilot universities, and more resources are needed to fund the establishment and running of business incubation centers at more universities.
Now, with those incubation hubs, then we are able to get students, to onboard students into the incubation hub, support them to be able to ideate their business ideas, then support them to begin to pilot them and translate them, with the hope that after about 8 months to 24 months, we should be able to have a fully functional business that is registered, which is a company, and which has created a job, at least with a minimum of at least 3 jobs. So that when these young people are leaving campus, they are graduating, but they're also graduating with their companies and with a job, rather than going to hit the road to begin to look for a job.